Thank you, Marie. In just a minute, we're going to start hearing from our instructors that are here. I'd like you to remember one thing. This is to paraphrase Henry Ford. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or at 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young, and that is so true. So now we're going to have our instructors, our Monday and Tuesday instructors. And if you see your name up there, please come up on the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to start with Christopher Hayes, and then they're going to go straight across, and you have a sheet with classes or your catalog that you can follow along. Christopher?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Hayes. I will be teaching the Poetry for Beginners course at Allego every Monday at 10 a.m. So I did my PhD in poetry at FSU some years ago, so naturally I now teach in the College of Business. Try not to think about that too hard. So I'm also the author of a collection of poetry called Hey Y'all Watch This, about growing up in the South. So in my course, we are going to breeze right past Shakespeare and Poe and all of those guys that nobody can understand anyway, and land in the 21st century and talk about some contemporary writers that are working now. And then you will try your hand at writing poems every week. We'll write about travel and food, family, all that good stuff. You can write about anything that you're learning in your other classes, and we'll just kind of get into what makes poetry work and what makes it fun. So I hope you join me. Thank you.
My name is Richard Bobo. The title of my course is Nationalism and Exoticism in American Music. This 4-week offering is designed for the general students and to be taught on all 4 Mondays in October at the Westminster Oaks Retirement Community. Now, there are 3 very important requirements for enrollment. 1, a willingness to learn. 2, a healthy sense of humor, and great big smiles. In other words, we're going to have a lot of fun studying 6 important compositions in addition to an important theater production, all involving 5 composers and 1 lyricist whose careers flourished within the continental United States. The first week will focus on 3 works by Aaron Copland: The Fanfare for the Common Man, El Salón Mexico, and the Appalachian Spring. Now, as for Appalachian Spring, we are going to look at a documentary film by the late Martha Graham, who studied, she was an avant-garde choreographer in her generation, and she will be dancing one of the roles. And it's very exciting, and we will follow that up with a performance of the orchestral suite by Aaron Copland. The second week, we'll feature 2 works performed by the New York Philharmonic Orchestra under the direction of the late Leonard Bernstein. They will present George Gershwin's An American in Paris, Rhapsody in Blue, with Bernstein as the piano soloist. Following our break, we'll turn our attention to the final movement of Charles Ives' Second Symphony, which contains numerous familiar folk tunes that Ives heard in his childhood. The movement is climaxed with military reveilles and ending with a humorously orchestrated Bronx cheer. No, I did not make a mistake in my notes. That's actually the way Ives ended the work. The final 30 minutes? Okay. The last 2 weeks, we'll examine Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein's Showboat, premiering in 1927. The Showboat was a watershed moment in the history of the American music theater. The class will learn why it enjoys periodical revivals to its day with a plot that mixes humor and tragedy. If any of you are interested, I happen to bring along some extra copies of my course syllabus. Feel free to take one. Thank you for your attention.
Buenas tardes. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll make sure that you can hear me. Okay, my name is Laura Gonzalez Morris. Spanish is my native tongue, so you know I love to share my beautiful language with everyone and anyone. I'm going to be teaching 2 classes. One of them is called Spanish 1, and that would be held at Red Hills on Tuesday, 9:30 to 11:15. And then there'll be another one, Spanish 2, over at the Pepper Center. And I have been given permission to talk about both of my classes because my next class is Wednesday and I'd have to be sitting up here for a while. So Vicki has given me permission. All right, so Spanish 1 can be for people who either have taken it in college or in high school, but I want to make the difference that this is going to be a lot of conversation, which you usually don't have a lot of in college and high school. They just conjugate verbs to death and hand you sheets so you can't remember anything except where's the bathroom. So this is, you start speaking the first day, and you'll be surprised how much you can speak in 6 weeks. And you also have to ask some of my students if you don't believe me. Yes, I see them around here. Yes, there they are. So also, I want to mention that we have Spanish Club. Spanish Club is held on Friday, just for 1 hour at Red Hills, and that's for extra practice, because the more you practice, the better you get. And also we have to mention that there is no fear in Spanish. We just get the word out, just say it. If it's a mistake, we'll correct it, but it doesn't matter. It's getting the word out. So we try to make sure that everybody feels very comfortable and feels good about what they're doing. Now, it doesn't matter if they've had just a little Spanish or maybe no Spanish. I think Spanish 1 is a class for you. Now, if you've already taken some Spanish classes with me or other people, maybe Spanish 2 would be the best for you, because we'll go over some grammar and we'll go from different tenses, but it doesn't need that you have to be fluent or fantastic. So don't put yourself down. If you can actually, have a pretty good working knowledge, you could get by in Mexico maybe. Maybe Spanish 2 is best for you. And so that class will be in the afternoon at the Pepper Center. And I also want to mention that Spanish is much easier than most other languages. Of course, this is Florida, so we need to be speaking Spanish. And so I encourage you to come and join me. Have a lot of fun, enjoy our language, and look forward to seeing you all. And I'll be outside a little while afterwards in case you have any questions. Okay? Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Becca Nishida, and I'm joined by a few of my fellow conservation biologists. That here is Manny. We are with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and we work in FWC's manatee and sea turtle programs. And we have a few questions we'd like to pose for you. We just have a few props to set up first, so bear with us. All right. Have you ever wondered, how do sea turtles navigate the big blue, traveling thousands of miles to reach nesting grounds and foraging areas? How is it that manatees stay so round when all they eat is salad? What do green sea turtles and hurricanes have in common? Out of the 5 sea turtle species found in Florida's waterways, which species has the best dance moves? All right, and what do Florida manatees and snowbirds have in common? Just imagine that's a car, an airplane, whatever your choice is, mode of transport is. And finally, what are some easy, everyday actions we all can do to help manatees and sea turtles as we're enjoying our waterways and beaches? So learn the answers to all of these questions and more during our 3-part course titled Florida's Manatees and Sea Turtles. It's on Tuesdays at the Allegro from 10 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Thank you.
So I have to follow that. I usually bring a skull with me, but I had class earlier and I have to run to do a class again. So I'm actually doing the Are You My Mummy on Thursdays at noon because I have to get across campus by 3 o'clock. I forgot my skull with me. I usually have one with me. If you do find a skull, call the police, and I know nothing about it. So in the class, we're going to cover paleopathology, so prehistoric diseases and suffering, which is more fun than you think it would be. We cover the kind of common diseases that we see in the archaeological record, so things like arthritis, trauma, fracture patterns, and we're going to do it from an archaeological perspective. So a couple of examples of warfare and mass burial pits with all kinds of decapitations and arms and legs cut off and cool stuff, right? I will eventually give you a recipe to shrink a human head, or at least give you some semblance of, if you're in the market for a shrunken head, don't fall for the fake ones, because there are some fakes out there. I think there was actually one. My students tell me about 2 fake shrunken heads at a pawn shop on Appalachia, like last year. So you never know what shows up. Of course, the class is going to cover mummies as well, so we'll talk about artificial mummification, natural mummification around the world, body modifications, cranial deformation, surgery like trepanation, cutting a hole in your head, tattooing, all kinds of different stuff in prehistory. So I hope you all join me again Thursday at noon. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we're going to have our Wednesday instructors. Okay. I think we're pretty much in order. Okay. Would you like to begin, please?
Hi, I am Katherine Johnson. I am an audiologist in the Department of Communication Science and Disorders. I didn't bring a prompt, but I did bring my ears, and that's what we're going to talk about. So my profession is about hearing health, and my talk is going to be about hearing health and healthy aging. It's a 3-week course. It will be on Wednesdays at 9:30 at Westminster. I will be talking about the ear, the anatomy of the ear, the impact of damage on our ears, on our hearing, and our ability to communicate, which is what we all want to do. We're going to talk about the psychosocial and emotional effects associated with hearing loss, because there are so many feelings and withdrawal that can happen because of hearing loss. We're going to talk about communication strategies. We're going to talk about places to sit in the room to help yourself in difficult listening environments be more successful. We're going to talk about amplification and assistive technology and how that can implement and help you have better success in difficult listening environments. We're going to talk about how to become your own advocate, what you need to know about the laws and how they are out to protect you and help you. We're going to talk about healthy aging. We're going to talk about the impact of cardiovascular health. We're going to talk about ringing in your ears, dizziness. We're going to talk about how diet and exercise help you with your hearing health. And then the last week, we're going to talk about the big topic, which is hearing loss, aging, and our cognitive health. I will also be at Westminster. It'll be the 10:29, 11:05, and 11:12 are my dates. But on 10:22, we will be offering free hearing screenings as well. And so I will be bringing my graduate students with me so that we can check your hearing and then we can talk. So I hope you'd see you there.
My name is Ben Gunter, and I want to take you from ears to eyes. Our course, it's Theater with a Mission. It's called Theatergoing with a Mission. It meets on Wednesdays, starting on October the 8th from 9:30 a.m. until 11:15. And I'm here to tell you why you should take this course. First of all, it will make you a better person. 2 years of research has established that there are unique intrinsic benefits to going to the theater. It fills you with captivation, intellectual stimulation, aesthetic enrichment, emotional expression, and social bridging and bonding. These things only happen with live theater, and Tallahassee is full of it. Right now at FSU, they're rehearsing Sweeney Todd, and at Tallahassee State College, they're rehearsing A Dollhouse. Tremendously interesting plays to get to go see, and this course will help you make the most of going to experiences like that. This course will make you a better person. This course will also make you a better citizen. According to the University of Chicago Department of Public Administration, exposure to the arts increases your civic engagement, your social tolerance, and your other regarding behavior. It makes you a better citizen. Thirdly, this course gives you a chance to see theater through many different sets of eyes. You're going to get to see theater through the eyes of playwrights, those really odd people who actually write plays. You'll get to see theater through the eyes of, designers who make costumes, props, sets, lights. You'll get to see theater through the eyes of critics, those people who watch performances and take them apart. You'll get to see theater through the eyes of producers and house managers who want to make sure everything is perfectly in apple pie order. You'll get to see theater through the eyes of dramaturgs, those scholars who need bifocals because they're looking at how theater from the past connects people to the present. And you'll get to see the theater through the eyes of actors who bring it all together. Come to us Wednesdays, Pepper Center, 9:30 to 11, starting on October the 8th, and learn Theatergoing with a Mission.
Bonjour. Ça va bien? Superbe. I'm Dr. Maggie McCauley, and I am going to be teaching French language for travel. And that's going to be meeting on Wednesdays at the Pepper Center. Whether for speaking with your Caribbean neighbor, traveling to Paris, or through regional France, or moving to France, this class is for you. We will learn and practice conversational French so you can navigate comfortably. And in addition, we're going to read some stories from people who have actually moved to France. So we'll get to hear about their daily experiences. I'm going to be providing yummy tastings of regional food and wine, and you can also bring your own lunch because this does meet at noon at the Pepper Center. I thought I'd do a quick little lesson with you now. Can you say the word for this? Croissant. Wow. You're making me proud already. And how about the word for this? Bonbon. Now, if you had a good meal in France, what would you say? You would say, c'était bon. Bon. Instead of bien. A lot of people use bien. C'était bon. And then you say, j'ai bien mangé. So I am teaching a second class as well, just before the French language for travel class. And this is for the people who are interested in Canada, and in particular French-speaking Canada. This class will be taught in English, as will my French class actually, but we'll be speaking a lot of conversational French in the second one. So this is going to be highlighting some of the places that we'll be going to on the Canada trip, but it's not only for people going on the Canada trip. We'll be looking at maps, we'll be highlighting historical places, learning a little bit about First Nations cultures, and speaking a little bit of French phraseology there too. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesdays at the Pepper Center. Merci beaucoup.
Hi, my name is Danielle Taylor, and I'll be teaching insect identification and diversity. I've been teaching high school science in Leon County for 13 years, and it will be a pleasure to teach adults rather than teenagers. This class will be a mix of hands-on experiences and engaging discussions and lectures. I really will encourage students to bring in live or dead specimens or photographs and videos to identify and discuss. We'll learn the basics that apply to all insects and then go into each order and family in depth. By the end of the class, you'll be able to identify an insect to order by sight and be well-versed in using free print and digital resources to identify it to species. I'm also a beekeeper, and I'm currently getting my master's in beekeeping from the University of Florida. So in addition to insect diversity, we will extend our focus into the biology of honeybees and the practice of beekeeping. My class will be Wednesdays at the Pepper Center at 2:15, and I brought a little friend today. See if she will come out. This is a polyphemus moth, which is a native species here. And these guys are really unique because they actually don't eat as adults. They sustain themselves on the food that they eat while they're a caterpillar. They go into their pupa, and then when they come out, all they do is mate, lay eggs, and die. And so this is just a preview of some of the cool stuff that we'll be seeing and touching in class. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Greg Sauer. I teach cello at Florida State, and I'm going to do a class on Wednesdays at Westminster Oaks, beginning on October the 8th, 9:30, on the Bach cello suites. These are pieces that are near and dear to me. I'm going to be helping you learn why I think they're fabulous and life-changing pieces of music. There are 6 of them, and there are 3 classes. So each class, I'm going to play 2 of them for you all. I hope you are all there. And because that's a big part of the class, I brought a prop, and I thought I would play just a little bit of the very first cello suite.
I should have prepared this part of it better. My prop come out of its case. Not as quick as that moth. Was that a moth?
Yes.
This will, because of time, this will end in a cliffhanger. You'll have to come to the class to hear how it ends. This is the very first part of the very first cello suite.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Milan. I'm a MFA graduate student in dance at FSU at the moment, and I will be teaching Caribbean dance, culture and identity. And it's more about getting familiar with the rich culture that the Caribbean has and the significance of the culture and identity within dance. I chose a couple of regions that I would like to discuss, that will be discussed during the class. We're going to talk about dance forms of Cuba and the Dominican Republic, which were Spanish, well, are still Spanish colonies. Trinidad, which was British. Guadeloupe, and the Dutch Caribbean, which many people don't really talk about, but they are part of the Caribbean as well, and they have a lot of culture and dance, which is something I would like to talk about more because that's where I'm from. The class will have a lot of footage and video footage and projections and interactive activities, discussions, short readings. I just want you to get a little of experience on, familiar with the dance forms that are significant in Caribbean culture because dance is life. The drum is part of Caribbean culture, which is in the lineage of African heritage. And then, of course, we have from Trinidad, which is Carnival, which you can also find in many of the Caribbean islands. And then we have a traditional skirt, which is also part of Caribbean culture in dance. So my class will be on Wednesday, 1:30 at Allegro, and I think it will be an exciting journey. So come and join my class. Bye.
Hi, I would like to start off by telling you that each one of you is an amazing individual. And I would like to teach you how amazing you are. I'm Dr. Wooten, and I'm from the College of Nursing here at FSU. And I'll be teaching about the human body and how we start from just one cell, and then we turn into a few cells, and then how we get our body systems from that. So in each week, we'll go from an individual body system, starting with the nervous system, and we'll go through how it develops and begins from just when you're about 2 weeks post-conception. We'll get some of our first indications of a nervous system, and then it continues to develop throughout your life. It never stops having, changes made in it, so you can still continue to learn, that, throughout your life. And then we'll move on to the cardiovascular system. We'll learn about how your heart works and some things you can do to keep it healthy. Also, we'll do common cardiac conditions and maybe some drugs that you may be taking right now and how they work. I'll also give you some talking points for you and your physician if you need that. We'll then move to week 3, which will be the last week that I have with you, and that will be the immune system and kind of my wheelhouse where I'll talk to you about cancer, how it develops, what it really is. I'm a cancer biologist by training, so we'll go through that. I'll be able to answer lots of questions. I'm easy to approach. Hopefully, you're not going to be afraid of me like some of my students are. I'll use real life examples, and like I said, I'll be easy to approach. I'll keep the science, I won't make it scary because it's not scary, I promise. And I love teaching. I guess you can probably tell that already. And I'd love to have you in my class so that I could teach you how amazing you are. You probably know that already, but let's show you how intelligent that your body is and how it's keeping you alive. I'm going to be at Red Hills on Wednesdays at 2:30, and I'd love to see you there.
One thing that's already abundantly clear to me, listening to the first two panels, is what extraordinary challenges and opportunities that OLLI presents to everyone in the room. I've nursery signed up for mini classes already. I take a moment to just share with you the class that I'll be teaching, and through a conversation with Ed, it's actually somewhat of a hybrid, not just in person and via Zoom, but we kind of realigned the course framework. Some of you may have taken variations of a course called Group Decisions. This is a Foreign Policy Association established for more than 100 years, presents frameworks to explore challenging foreign policy and national security scenarios, not limited to the United States, but often involving the United States. So there are three topical areas remaining to explore, which involve the implications of climate change in terms of national security and foreign policy, the future of NATO, operative topic today, and the implications of AI, but specifically within the national security and foreign policy context. And then, here's the hybrid part, it also will include or incorporate an ongoing conversation relating to the Hamas strike upon Israel and Israel's ongoing response. And the approach taken throughout this 6-week course will be irrespective of where people might align or think they might align or aren't sure if they align. Left, right, center, I mentioned earlier, upside down, sideways, does not matter. We kind of spot the issue, attempt to identify the implications, and then attempt to reconcile the issues within the applicable frameworks, whether that's legal, policy, ethical, doctrinal. Here's the quick gist, because my time's up. Very quick gist. This is an approach that can help. It doesn't tell anyone what to think about any topic, but it helps to apply critical analysis in a way that it can be help to navigate, let's just say, a wide array of narratives that we're experiencing and confronting today, vectoring at us from many different angles. So it's certainly a timely course, and appreciate the opportunity to offer it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you. So.
Oh, I was waiting. I usually do that. Wait till I hear it come back. Passing your press.
Who's this guy?
A little change in lineup. Perfect.
I guess there's still that. I don't think they're saying it for
Best second their lasts. Well, some people might think so. Well, I'm pinch hitting. Harriet was called away, but I think I can get us through the end of this. So we're on the last group, Group 3, and as you can see on the screen, we're looking at our upcoming classes for Thursday and a Saturday class. So we'll just go down the line. Bob, you want to take it away?
Thank you. Hello, I'm Bob O'Leary. I'm a 50-year photographer in Tallahassee, Florida. I've worked for lots of different agencies and news organizations and things like that. I presently own a photo studio in Railroad Square, and I've probably photographed more than half the audience here at one time or another. This is great. I'm going to be talking and teaching a class called Photography for Everyone. If you use an iPhone or a cell phone, if you use a digital camera, we will be addressing issues that you'd be interested in. I'm going to teach things from the simplest possible definition. For instance, how to take pictures. You get yourself a camera, you look through the back, you twist the lens, and you push the button a few times. Simple. Well, we're going to go over the rest of it, which makes from concept to print or from concept to presentation the best possible image you can produce. It's always a lot of fun. I've been doing this for many classes. It's Thursday at 9:15 till whenever we get out. They usually come in and chase us because someone else needs a room. But it's a hard class to leave, I'll tell you that. And we have a lot of fun. We take pictures, we share pictures, we critique our work up on the screen, we look at editing techniques, and we look at different photographic techniques that can take our pictures from good to great. Please join us, and I guarantee you'll have a grand time. Thank you.
My name is Nelson Eastring, and the course that I will be presenting is entitled Democracy, Is There Too Much? This course will be based loosely on a book called The Irony of Democracy, The Irony of Democracy, which was a very controversial book. So if you like debates and discussion, this might be a good place to come visit, because we will be doing a lot of that. But one of the issues in the book that attracted me or induced my being here is that the authors showed that if you took all of the basic tenets of our constitutional democracy and put them to a vote, democracy would lose in America. Right there, it tells you that there's at least the possibility of a democracy being too much. The original book, of course, did not concern itself with the issues we're facing today, but this course will. We will begin the course by discussing in depth the level of partisanship in America today and the level of public opinion being so rigid and strict. I'm sure you've all heard, political pundits talk about the fact that we have abandoned some of the guardrails that kept America great for so many years. The final course, the final week we have in this course will be a debate and a discussion on those guardrails and how we may restore them. So those of you who like to debate and discuss, we meet on Thursday morning, 9:30 to 11:15, beginning October the 9th for 3 weeks. Hope to see you all there.
Good afternoon. I'm so privileged to be here. I drove up from Ocala, and this is my home because I went to FSU in 1968. I graduated in the arts with Carl Zerbe. I don't know if anybody knew Carl Zerbe, but anyway, I am here to teach the hidden meaning of sci-fi. I'm a lifelong learner. I have 5 college degrees, and I'm not paid well. I'm also a script writer, and everything that happened in my life has led me to where I am. I'm just going to give you a little history. When I was a little girl, we moved from New York, and this was in 1954, to New Orleans, Louisiana. Very big change. And my mother would take me to the movies on Saturday, and there they would have these old sci-fi movies like Colossal Woman, It, Them, all these movies that I'm going to be talking about in my course. And when I moved to Florida and went to FSU, In 1960s, remember, what was the movie, the TV series that everybody was so interested in was Star Trek, right? And I would walk all the way over to campus. We had one little room where there was a TV, and we'd all watch it, the few of us. Now, this led me to where I went and got an MFA in film. And I love sci-fi. I have seen almost everything in this book. I was really amazed. And there's a lot in here, trust me. And what I want to talk about is not only what sci-fi is about, but the hidden meanings that we find as writers. And I'm a screenplay writer. I've had a movie made. It's called Sandland. It was on Apple TV. That's what I do now. I'm a script writer. And I found that when I taught film history, the kids said to me they never want to watch a film again because I could tell them things they never knew was in the films. And I started thinking about what is in sci-fi. And that as a writer, when you analyze sci-fi, you look for the meanings that's in there, and they're political meanings. Sometimes they're about, are there aliens good or bad? Are we going to explore? Are we going to go out to other worlds? But it's also undertones of what's going on in the world today. And I'm going to be teaching the hidden meaning of sci-fi on, I think it's 9:30. And I hope you all come and enjoy and learn about all the different films that I have on my list. And it starts with A Trip to the Moon, and it goes to Prometheus, the comparison of Star Wars, Star Trek, all these different things. And I hope you come and join me. I would love to see you all take my class. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Schuyler Ford, and this session I am bringing to life a woman who is near and dear to me, Madame Restell, the notorious Victorian-era abortionist in Manhattan. I first learned about her when I was a little girl touring Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in New York State, and her burial monument is mostly granite, but there is a life-size marble child, and the child's statue, being marble, is eroding. And I remember as a child asking my mother, why is the baby disappearing? As an adult giving tours at Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, I learned that she was a notorious abortionist of her day, and the irony just has stayed with me, and I have studied her for years. So I invite you to join me for the story of Madame Restell, Victorian abortionist, and we will delve into all of the twists and turns of her life, rising from poverty to a wealthy entrepreneur. We'll look at the convoluted sexual mores of the time, as well as the culture, her family dysfunction, and the many influences that shaped her path, including encounters with good old Anthony Comstock, whose name is still invoked today by anyone who is opposed to women's reproductive autonomy. So I hope you will join me. The class is on Thursday, October 30th at 9:30. Thank you.
Ni hao. See, you already know one word of Chinese, so you have a head start on my class. Hi, my name is Samantha Buckley, and I am offering Introduction to Chinese Language through OLLI this fall. The class will be at 9:30 a.m. on Thursday mornings at the Claude Pepper Center. Did you know that 1 in 6 people on the planet speak some variety of Chinese? Mandarin Chinese alone has 1.2 billion speakers, which makes it the second most widely spoken language in the world, second only to English in terms of total number of speakers. So other than being able to talk to a lot more people if you're the social type, why else should you study Chinese? Well, learning a new language can be fun, right? And it also has incredible benefits for brain health, being able to help you improve your memory, attention, and neuroplasticity. Learning a new language also opens up many opportunities to connect with people. And not only in my class will you be learning new words, but also customs and etiquette that'll help you get to know new people and new places. And another appealing aspect of learning a new language is that it opens up travel. So if you decided, say, to travel to China or another Mandarin-speaking part of the world, you will have an easier time getting around, asking directions, meeting people, and have a better experience overall as you travel to such wonderful places as the Terracotta Warriors Museum in Xi'an, the Great Wall of China near Beijing, and other fabulous sightseeing destinations. And don't forget about the food. You can unlock the Chinese menu and have some unbeatable culinary experiences in places such as Taipei, Taiwan, which is known for its night markets and Michelin-starred restaurants. I know that Mandarin Chinese might seem intimidating to learn, especially if you don't already speak an East Asian language, but my class will emphasize practical phrases, pronunciation, and practicing speaking so that you can actually start speaking Chinese right away. The Tang Dynasty poet Wang Zhihuan said that if you want to get a grander view, you have to ascend to a higher level. That's just another way of saying that any journey starts with a single step. Take your first step into the world of Chinese language, and I know you'll go far. Thank you.
There's so many of these courses I want to take. My name is Dennis Moore. I'm about to launch on my second OLLI course. I got to teach one back in the spring. We read 4 books in 6 weeks. It worked out well. One was Huck Finn, and one was James, and there's a conversation there. But anyway, in the course that I'm going to teach in a month on Thursdays, I have a correction for you, because in the printed material that some of you brought, it says that we'll be reading 4 books, but we won't. We've streamlined it, and it makes much more sense in a way. It seems more planned to read 3 books in those 6 weeks. And so what we'll do the first week is discuss To Kill a Mockingbird, the book, and then the next class we'll try to segue from talking about the book to talking about the movie. I've gotten the impression from conversations today, but also in the last couple of weeks, at the coffee shop, talking with people about this course, and they've warned me that we might spend half of those 6 weeks talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, but we'll try not to. But again, the pattern is we'll read To Kill a Mockingbird. The next session, we'll talk about the movie version of it. The next class, we'll read another fine novel called Sense and Sensibility. Then the next class, we'll talk about it. The third of the books we're reading, I happen to have my marked up copy here. It's called Atonement. And like these first 2 books, it gives you so much to think about and talk about. And then in the 6th class, we'll talk about the film version of it. One pattern that I expect we'll pursue in each of these sessions, but especially in those sessions when we're talking about the movie, is does this movie do justice to this book? And I'm in focusing in that way, I'm trying to keep away from did you like it or did you not like it? I mean, there's some things about each of the books we'll all perhaps treasure, some we'll want to forget. But again, the idea is does the movie version, this interpretation, this adaptation, does it really do justice to this book? I see my time's up. I'm looking forward to Thursdays starting a month from now. Thank you, everybody.
My name is Walter Chinkle. I'm a retired professor of biological science from FSU. I'm also known as the Ant-Man. I've got certainly over 60 years of experience in doing research on insects, especially on ants, but as well beetles as well. So I think I've learned a thing or two about insects that I would like to share with you. The course that I'm offering is called The Marvelous Insects, because of course they are. Sorry, I don't have any props. I realize now I should have come dressed as a giant beetle. But Franz Kafka has already taken...
Maybe rainbow.
Right. My course will be offered on Thursdays, October 9 to November 13 at Westminster Oaks at 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. I emphasize that because it is correct in the glance schedule, but it's incorrect in the catalog. It's got the wrong time, the wrong starting date, the wrong place. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, So take note of the correct time and place. So if you take my course, you're going to learn quite a bit about insects. They're probably, arguably, the most successful group of land animals in the world, from between 10 to 30 million species, and we'll only learn about half of those, okay? With a huge, enormous range of life habits and body forms and so on and so forth. I'm going to teach you how the insects evolved from segmented worms, how the exoskeleton, that is the cuticle, has been adapted to an enormous range of functions and life habits and morphologies and feeding habits and so on. I'll touch, of course, on flight, which is, insects are only one of 3 groups of animals that have evolved flights. And insects are 200 million years ahead of birds and 300 million years ahead of bats. So they've been doing this a long time. So join me and we will explore the insects together. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Am I the only one who wants to go to all of these classes? My name is Alan Hanstein. I'm the director of the Challenger Learning Center, Tallahassee. As far as mascots go, we've got the best one, which is Astro. The class I'm teaching is Science of Science Fiction, Fact Fiction, or Flawed. Do you love movies like The Martian, Interstellar, Jurassic Park, or even Armageddon? Ever wonder how much of that science is actually real and how much is just good storytelling? Even the Science of Science Fiction, Fact Fiction, or Flawed will dive into 6 weeks of cinematic science, exploring how Hollywood gets it right, wrong, and everything in between. We'll talk about AI and ethics in 2001: A Space Odyssey, survival and space botany in The Martian. We won't go into all the details there if you've seen The Martian. Time warps in Interstellar, the wild genetic science of Jurassic Park, and whether Bruce Willis really could save the planet by drilling into an asteroid in Armageddon. We'll use film clips, real science explanations, demonstrations. I've got a couple of great guest speakers, and lots of discussion. You don't need a background in science, just a love for movies and a curious mind. So if you're ready for a course that's fun, eye-opening, and occasionally explosive, join me for the Science of Science Fiction. Let's boldly go where science meets storytelling. So we will go from Star Trek to Star Wars. I did bring up a prop because they said I could bring a prop. That's a lightsaber. That's not a working lightsaber, but in the class we will actually look at how a real lightsaber would work, as well as phasers, transporters, and all kinds of fun activities. And I'm actually looking forward to your course as well. So this is the 59th anniversary of Star Trek. Just the other day I happened to be in San Francisco at the future site of Starfleet Academy on that day. So thank you. Thursdays, 2:15. The class is at the Challenger Learning Center. Parking will be provided. We will validate parking in Kleeman Plaza if you park there, and we will also be providing popcorn. So I think that's a bonus. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Dortro. I'm a professor at FSU I do biomathematics, and I'm also in the neuroscience program. I'll be teaching a course with 2 of my colleagues. Maybe they can stand, Doug Storrs and Roberto Vinci's. Both Doug and Roberto are in the biology department, the biological science, and also in the neuroscience program at FSU. And the name of our course is appropriately Studying the Brain. And the humans have been interested in the brain for many thousands of years. And many of the theories that have come up over that time seem to us to be quite preposterous. If you hear some of the ideas that people had about the brain, how the brain worked, you'd wonder how could they have possibly come up with such an idea? Well, if you put yourself back in their time, you realize that those ideas were really not that crazy. They were pretty rational based on the techniques that they had to study the brain at their point in time. Well, the techniques have developed a lot over the past century, really. And before that time, it was really hard to know how the brain worked because it is an electrical organ. It's based on electricity. And until really the last 100 years, there was almost nothing that could be done to make much progress in understanding that. So in this course, we'll talk about the brain. We'll talk about the tools that have been and will be used, and currently being used to study the brain, which includes mathematical and computational methods, which is what I do, as well as things like multi-electrode electrophysiology and fluorescence methods. And they'll also look at what goes wrong in the brain and that can lead to diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And apparently, since even long before the ancient Romans, people knew that the brain was the center of many diseases, but they didn't know what to do about it. Now we have some better ideas, and we'll talk about that in this course, which is on Thursdays at 2:15. It's a 3-week course. Thank you.
My name is Sunny Phillips. I teach backyard birding and beyond on 3 Saturdays. We go to Tall Timbers, St. Mark's, and an excellent birding location here in Tallahassee. The class is usually about 9 to 3 on a Saturday, and I'm going to tell this gentleman to my right, not directly to my right, but the northern flicker is going to eat his ant, and the pine warbler is going to eat that moth. So I will give you the what, when, how, and where. What bird is that singing in my backyard? If I go to North Carolina, what bird is that singing in that backyard? How do I identify them? There are a lot of tips that you can get just on if a bird has a flat flight or if it's a V shape or whatever. So we were talking about that earlier. But where do I go to find those birds? What apps, software apps do I use? So what bird feeders do I use? What feed do I use during the summer, the spring, the fall? What does the appropriate bird bath? Why are they not using that bird bath where they use this one over here? So the class is very comprehensive. It's fun. I love every time I teach it. And by the way, 640,300 birds flew over Leon County last night. 9 o'clock was the peak migration.
All right. Thank you very much. And I know I can personally say that this semester's lineup is kind of mind-boggling. And, there's only so many hours in the day and so many days in the week, but it's going to be great. Reminders, just a few reminders. We are trying to get our membership back up in the numbers that we... Do we need to... If you guys are excused, if you want to... If you want to... I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So we're trying to get our numbers back up to pre-COVID, and that will hopefully be enhanced by the class. If you are a new member, you'll have a chance to get a class without cost, and if you refer a new member who joins, then you will be able to get a class at basically half price. Those and of course we have membership sign up is already in progress, and the class registration Friday morning at 10 a.m. and you don't want to miss a chance to get that new T-shirt. I know I can always use another one. And in addition to signing up for classes, I should remark that while you're signing up for classes, you also want to take a good hard look at the activities and the clubs, and you can put all those in your shopping basket and get ready to check out. I want to thank the staff who, once again, have just knocked it out of the park, and the volunteers. The instructors have been great. And I think we owe a thanks to the staff here at the Turnbull Center, too. I know they're behind the scenes and working hard. for us to make this go. So, if there's anything else?
Kent, may I say one more thing?
You may.
I didn't
I'm
use
sorry.
up my minute and 30 seconds. Okay. Certainly not the 2 minutes. My class is limited to 15 people. It usually closes within 24 hours. So that's one thing I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew.
Thank you. Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. Okay. Thanks a lot. See you in class.